Welcome to another edition of In the Zone. I am your host, the Councilman, Deron Daniels, back in action, feeling healthy, back on my feet. Man, they tried to knock me down, but man, why do we fall to get back up? And I'm glad to get back up with my Ace Boone Cool, my partner in crime. Tell the people who you are, bro.
The voice of the streets, man. What it do? We back, man. My man's is back, man. 2023, February, yeah, we outside, man. I got my guy back, so we ready, man. I'm excited.
Definitely shout out to Celeste, shout out to Lucy May. Sorry I couldn't make that, man, but I'm glad y'all were able to get some great content. They definitely hit up on, what the state of journalism, how journalism has affected the perception of Lincoln Heights, man. It was just an overall great conversation. It's definitely going to tie in to what we got going on today, man. So a lot of stuff been happening, man, since we've been away, man. But we back having these type of conversations again, bro. Police brutality. We lost another brother today. Well, not today, but just over these past few weeks. His funeral took place yesterday, man. So definitely rest in power, brother Nichols, man. It's just a tragedy. Definitely, I'll let you come and jump into this one, bro. I know when it deals with police and how police treat our people. I know you definitely have some strong opinions on that, so I'm gonna let you rock with this one, Big Bill.
I mean, it's unfortunate that we even have to have this discussion. The format of the situation is crazy. The optics of the situation look crazy. We have a situation where there was all black officers involved. Outside of maybe Rodney King, and I know Rodney King had a lot more officers, and I believe it was white officers there too. Yeah. This was an all-black situation that ended up causing the death of a young man, and it's really unfortunate. A lot of different backstories that we've been hearing. The streets is talking. Yeah. This was a personal vendetta with one of the officers, and that led to this situation, and the guy filming it, and it's gross. It's disgusting that we have to talk about this. Another crazy mind twist in the situation is how swiftly they acted for the officers. Yeah. And let me preface it by saying that I agree with how swiftly they acted for the officers, but it's a different precedent set when other situations that don't involve all black officers, I feel like they're a little slower to react. It takes a little longer to get the same results that they did. So, it's crazy because you say, hey, I want them to start moving faster, but it's just crazy that they chose this situation to be the ideal situation to move in a timely manner when it's the death of a black child. So it's great. And not a child, that was a man. He had children, and I want to put respect on his name. Brother Nichols was a grown man, had children. Yeah. As far as we know, was a respectable member of society, was taking care of his kids, and it's just unfortunate, man.
Like you said, definitely losing another brother is always unfortunate. And as you said before, it's more so the system, right? The way that our police officers sometimes feel like that they can that they're empowered enough and emboldened enough, to put their hands on somebody. But even if that is a situation, man, that he abused his power to take out a personal vendetta, I don't even want to try to think about it in that way. So I'm going to try to just stick with specifically the facts, especially from my point of view as a council member, right? Because, we talked about it the other day. When you talk about police officers, I definitely have a bound respect for them because in any situation where you got to put your life on the line, because there are dangerous situations out there. I know we might get into it earlier today when something happened in Wyoming, similar situation, and we talked about the danger in that. So just any type of situation like that, you definitely want to put respect on that. Now, let that be said. What took place was definitely uncalled for. It was horrendous, and it's definitely just disrespectful as any man, black, white, but definitely as a black man, to do that to somebody else when you already know the trauma that we go through when we see somebody die on the screen, man. We talk about, post-traumatic stress, and we see this all the time. When another brother dies, the statistics on what that kind of does to us as a whole. Having to explain that now to our children because now they see this all through social media and continue to have to live through that. So, man, I know we're going to wrap this up here in the next, 30 seconds. So, last thoughts, I'll let it go to you. But, yeah, bro, it's sad. It's a tragedy, and it's disrespectful. So, let the cards fall where they may for those that not only, put their hands on them, but the EMTs and the services that were supposed to protect them that didn't do that as well. So
prayers to the Nichols family, to his kids that lost their father. And just us as a whole, we had to lose another brother in a tragic way, and all had to be seen on camera. So it's tragic, man. I hope everybody get what they deserve in the situation.
And now let's kind of transition into still dealing with police, and then kind of still dealing with trauma with the police,
Yeah.
the gun range.
Come
We
on,
got some
man.
good we got some good news towards it, but as you talk about the trauma of what it's like hearing those sounds every day. And if you're not familiar, Lincoln Heights were the first African American community above the Mason-Dixon line, established in 1946. 1 year after that, the Cincinnati Police Department decided that they were going to now get some land donated to them and build a shooting range right outside of this historic black community. So as Lincoln Heights grows, we've also had this shooting range grow with us. So as you think about how your police weapons have modernized and how they militarized, actually, those are the same sounds that we're hearing here. Same automatic weapons, same concussion grenades. So when you wake up in the morning, I'm sure you're hearing birds chirping or, maybe folks going to work. No, our kids are hearing automatic weapons. And think about that during the COVID time when everybody's sitting at home. And when you're sitting at home and all you're hearing is bang, bang, bang all day. I remember one time when we got Johnny sitting back here, we were having a daggone football meeting one time.
Yeah.
And then you can hear the shots in the background because we had multiple kids who lived in Lincoln Heights, plus myself, all sitting there, so it just reverberates through everybody's meeting. So some folks is like, man, what is that going on in the background? Who getting shot? We're like, nah, that's just the gun range. So think about having to talk to that about with kids, man, in the middle of a football meeting. So
And real quick, like,
yeah,
not to
yeah.
cut you off,
Nah,
but
because
to
I'll
put
go
it in
on that, man.
perspective, Like what he said and how long this has been here. This has been 75 years in the making. So he's talking about currently with our kids and what they experienced within the past 5 to 10 years of how this could be traumatic. We grew up with this. I've known this for 30 years. So to have that, my parents and my dad and them heard this as they grew up. So this has been generational. That's been going on.
The soundtrack of our life.
And like it does something to you mentally when you get used to the sound of automatic gunfire and repeated gunfire. So just to kind of put it in perspective, I ain't want to cut you off.
No,
but
you're right.
It's a traumatic thing, and it's a big deal that they finally
Think about what you
moving.
just said, though, bro. You get used to hearing gunfire.
Yeah.
Like, as a human being, you should have a flight risk when you hear shots. Just naturally. I mean, you should do that. But think about that. Our kids don't do that. Our kids got to the point where they know when the shots was coming because it's the pattern. You hear the ping, the man on the PA announcement, and then you hear the shots fired. So our kids are now to the point where they now playing gun games to mimic that. So not only they're not scared of it, they feel like that's the environment that they live in.
Yeah.
So when you talk about kids from Lincoln Heights,
I have zero response time. Like it's over. Like,
but
yeah.
No. But I would say, but there is great news. $15 million has been put to the plate. So there's now $21 million thanks to the advocacy done by the Heights Movement work like you guys, man, those that are watching, those that filled out the online petition, those that came to the rallies, those that showed up and did their testimonies. This is the reason why $21 million has been raised for it so far. They're going to start being shovel ready real soon. Site preparations, they got what the police is going to look like. It's going to be a nice facility for those officers to get out there and train. And I'm all about enhanced police training because it just gets to the conversation we just had before about what took place with my brother. So as we talk about what these things look like and how we want to try to negotiate conversations with our law enforcement, I think those are some things that you could talk about too in your new facility. I think, also the training about how to interact with folks that come from communities that look like us could be a part of that as well too. But what I'm truly excited about is that it's right around the corner. We can see the light at the end of the tunnel. This gun range is going to be gone. So not that the folks are saying, you're about 6 million short. There was another conversation about 11 million. It's going to get done, and it's going to get done by the end of the year. So once again, pieces around the corner, and it's all shout out to you all. You all should be so proud of yourselves. So there's nothing that you can't do. Think about how often folks were telling us, hey, man, that gun range been there for years. Man, it ain't going nowhere. Y'all can't get that done. Y'all fighting a battle that you shouldn't fight. No, don't ever let anybody tell you that you can't get nothing done because it is done. Those are mind games that the system wants you to think. Man, do not fall for that trick. controllables and uncontrollables, and can't nobody tell you what you can't control. 15 seconds, Big Bill, I'll give it to you.
That's the foundation that the heist movement was built on. Yep. That was one of our original fights that we decided that we were going to change the narrative moving forward for our generation. So to see that come to fruition, that's where we at. So we want to keep doing that, keep setting that example, and keep showing people what they think can happen. We can make it happen.
Yeah. Once again, shout out to the squad. Shout out to everybody, man. As we move on to the next topic. But yeah, man. So now, definitely once again, shout out. So now, I got the segue. So once again, yeah, just shout out to everybody who's done great work to make sure that we get this gun range removed.
For sure.
But yeah, as we talk about teamwork and great work. Man, shout out to our boys, man. Shout out to our Bengals. It was a great season. I do want to say this before we get into the Super Bowl talk. All you new Bengals fans who have been online embarrassing the crap out of hardcore fans who have been down since the 90s. The Bruce Coslet days, where we were truly 1-15.
Yeah.
The days where Big Dan Wilkinson was supposed to be there. The days of Kajana Carter tearing his ACL. If you don't understand that pain, please get off of social media talking about how things were a conspiracy. I'm going to get off on that note because I'm going to let the next 4 minutes of the Super Bowl talk. We appreciate it. It was a great season. You got to think it was a great season. I'm going to wrap it up on this because I can do this in 10 seconds. Joe Burrow started off with no training camp. Started the season off shaky. I mean, we were there. Throwing 4 short interceptions. We started off, I think, 0-3, 0-2. Turned that thing around, 10 straight wins, heading to the playoffs, took Patrick Mahomes, and it was down all the way down to 45 seconds left. You know what I mean? It's give or take there. Great season, great foundation to build up upon. But I'll let you go into the Super Bowl because, once again, as a black man, I am truly excited about this Super Bowl, though. I am excited about both things as a black man and a Cincinnati guy. But go ahead, jump into it.
And I'll make sure I want to get that information correct, too, because that's a big deal.
Yeah.
Definitely was some interesting games going on. My guys took an L, too. We had to do an ISO on bro because I've been excited. These Bengals fans in Cincinnati, I don't know, I know everybody around the world has been seeing it, but they've been looking bad. All this conspiracy talk. It was some bad refereeing, but they was at home. You should expect that. And playoff football, this is the game that we play. But, yeah, these new fans, as you want to call them, they looking bad.
Nah, I got you. So, yeah, while you pull that up, shout out to Jalen Hurts. Shout out to Patrick Mahomes. I know you pulling that up, but, but shout out to Jalen. Shout out to Patrick because this is the first time we got 2 black quarterbacks in the Super Bowl against each other. And then, once again, shout out to UC because you got the Kelsey brothers going against each other. So definitely just from a Cincinnati standpoint, definitely from a black quarterback standpoint, this Super Bowl is going to be historic. So, man, let us know in the comments who you think is going to win. Let us know, truly, do you think that Patrick Mahomes could potentially pass up and become the next GOAT? As we know, we're going to get into that conversation later. That's going to be fun. We're going to bring Eno on the stage. We're going to bring Johnny on the stage and talk about who are the GOATs of the 2000s, as Tom Brady retired. But, yeah, man, it's going to be interesting to see if Patrick Mahomes can get him another Super Bowl and potentially stay on track to pass up Tom Brady as that potential GOAT, man. But yeah, man, I definitely want to touch into, as we talk about black history, just Jalen Hurts and his ride. Because if you don't know his story, look it up as a football player. But, man, I'm going to let Big Bill touch into this story about what he's just doing as a black man in general.
Yeah, shout out to Jalen Hurts. What I was going to say, they took us out. Shout out to my 49ers. I need an ISO on my 49ers. They had a great season. They did their thing, exceeded expectations. They actually got to their 4th string quarterback. We need to put that in perspective. Everybody got hurt, and we still fought through. Bang, bang, Niner gang all day. But to my guy, Jalen Hurts, definitely proud of him. Definitely is another person that exceeded expectations. A lot of people didn't think his style of football was going to get him where he is now. Philly had a great season. But shout out to him for another reason. What they say, without every black man is a black queen standing behind him. That young man has a black agent for him, and then there's a young lady, and she is the first African-American lady.
Shout out.
Female. Let me be specific, 2023. First African-American woman to represent a football player in the Super Bowl. First black person ever to represent, but first woman definitely for sure. So we want to give a shout out to her. Her name is Miss Nicole Lynn. So with it being Black History Month, we're doing a tribute to Black women for Black History Month. I definitely want to give her flowers. That is amazing. We love to see things like that. Keep breaking down those barriers and shattering those expectations of what we can and what we cannot do. So definitely shout out to him for making that choice to have that as your agent. That says a lot about him and his character as a man to decide that. So,
amen. And as you said, man, shout out
frat love there. It's all type of, so yeah, that's dope.
And just shout out to Black women, man. Once again, we definitely got a special guest that we were able to bring in, Ryan McDade, Lincoln Heights grad, but grew up in Lincoln Heights, Princeton grad, came out with us, man. But now she is a doctor. And definitely talking about mental health. So make sure you check out our website at theheightsmovement.org and check out not just our interview that's going to be on there, but the information he has up coming up next. Black History Month, man. And like we said before, I just want to let everybody introduce once again, as we get set up for our last segment, Ryan McDade, Dr. Ryan McDade.
Put some respect on it.
And as we talk about the importance of mental health here. So once again, introducing Ryan McDade. Welcome to a very, very special edition of In the Zone, man. You know, we always try to bring you the best subject matter experts, but this one is one's personal, and a couple different reasons. But we definitely want to introduce and allow her to introduce herself, the president, I believe, and the CEO of Apple of His Eye, Dr. Ryan A. McDade. Would you like to introduce yourself, Dr. Ryan A. McDade?
Well, that's going to be kind of hard to follow because you did an amazing job. So thank you for that. So as you said, my name is Ryan A. McDade, Dr. McDade, and I am the president and co-founder of Apple of His Eye Incorporated, and I'm really excited to be on the Zone podcast.
No, thank you. Once again, it's definitely a pleasure to have you here. What was, obviously the In the Zone podcast, we definitely talk about our origins here at the Heights Movement. How important it is for us, I feel like, to tell that story. Please, what was the inspiration for the name of your organization, Apple of His Eye?
Absolutely. So Apple of His Eye, it really comes from biblical scripture. So Apple of His Eye is a faith-based community organization, and I'm a believer. And in the Bible, God refers to his people as the apple of his eye. And so I wanted the name of the organization to convey how God values us in hopes that my message and the work that I do would convey that message as I'm serving his people.
That's beautiful, especially if you know the history of Lincoln Heights and how spiritually this community is, how spiritually our people are. Making those connections are definitely important. When did you start the organization? When did you guys kind of have its inception?
Absolutely. So we started, believe it or not, in 2015, and I'm smiling because it's been a long road. So I was very active in establishing the organization at its inception, and then had a couple of things with life and work that happened, and it took a back seat. And so I'm at a place now where God is allowing me to revive it and to, I believe, fulfill one of the purposes that he gave me while I'm here.
No, anything that's worth having, anything that's sustainable has to go through those changes, has to go through that stress test. So, no, saying that you guys started in 2015 and, still rocking, still making change is a testament to you, testament to the apple of his eye, both literally and spiritually as well. But so what fueled the start of the apple of his eye?
So I'm going to try to not cry when I
no.
answer
Hey,
this.
This is a cry-free, no judgment.
I can't cry.
No. I'm saying this is like what's the proper term? This is a judgment-free, cry-free. No. We allow all emotions here in the Zone podcast. So yeah. This isn't like this. What's that movie with Tom Hanks? Like, there's no crying in baseball. This is not us. My team often catches me shedding a tear from time to time. So no, don't feel bad at all.
Okay, great. Oh my goodness. So I've had family members that were diagnosed with severe and persistent mental health conditions, and it changed my life. It changed my life professionally, personally, spiritually, and in every aspect. I felt that I needed to shift, and so even my degree in my profession, I went into the mental health field. I'm a mental health behavioral researcher, and in school now to be a therapist. And so the inception or the inspiration is really my family. I wanted to serve, and yeah, I just felt like that was what God, one of the things He called me to do, and it really was solidified when my family members were diagnosed.
Oh, and as you said before, the story of mental wellness, right? Just taking care of our own self and our own mental health. That's been a journey in itself. So, to recognize that in your family, I can only imagine um, how personable that is to you. And then once again, using that energy to putting into an organization like this, I can only once again only can imagine how much you care about this work, how much you're passionate about this work. And I can only thank you, especially as a resident here of Lincoln Heights, because some things that we've spoke about, is particularly when it comes to mental health, is that we talked about the gun range and growing up near a gun range and hearing those sounds for over 75 years. And having our community kind of deal with that and understanding that trauma and walking forward. The fact that, you were able to, like I said, not recognize that in your family, but understand that, hey, the fact that the people that I see the most are the ones that are struggling with this, and I can actually do something to try to amplify that on a bigger range. Just as I quote you, just God bless you, Ryan. Like real talk though, it's real talk. Definitely God bless you. What does Apple of His Eye Inc. do, and what are their next steps?
Absolutely. So as I mentioned before, we're a faith-based organization, and there's a couple of components. So we do a lot of community mental health education. So my doctorate is in public health education, so it allows me to take what I do professionally and then put it into my ministry. The second piece is to that we provide supportive care services to specifically African-American male youth and other minority male youth that are dealing with serious mental health conditions. We provide housing, transportation, even legal advocacy services. We're kind of a catch-all. And I want to say this if I can. Within the mental health community, and you'll notice I'm saying mental health, not mental illness, because it carries stigma.
Yep.
When you're a minority and then you have the label of a mental health condition, it is a double stigma. And what I see is that within the mental health community, there's not a lot of culturally competent or even Black-ran and led organizations that are specifically aimed to cater to African-American males. And I know that I'm not a male, but I am an African-American strong female, and I believe that what I'm doing hopefully will spark other organizations to do that, to specifically serve those in need.
Because the need is there, and especially here in Cincinnati, we had a young lady. Actually, it was two young ladies and a gentleman. But Ashley Glass was the young lady that kind of spearheaded, and Black Women Cultivating Change. But even though it's Black Women Cultivating Change, they put on a lot of Black men mental health awareness. When you talk about, and once again, these cliches, sometimes they get caught up in tradition, but I always think there's some positive roots behind that, and sometimes I might be getting off the rail a little bit, but they say behind every Black man, there's a strong Black woman, either behind him or beside him.
Absolutely.
But the reason behind that is because that mental stability, that mental sanity, that sometimes to check ourselves, it has to come from our better half sometimes. So once again, as a Black man, I thank you for this work. And once again, I always shout out to Ashley. We just saw her this weekend, by the way, and we'll get into that as well, where that the phenomenal event that you put on there too. But ABCs of Mental Health Campaign, and as you can see, guys, we have it right there on the left side of Ryan's shoulder. But the ABCs of Mental Health Campaign, what is it, and why is this important?
Absolutely. So Apple of His Eye was blessed to receive a grant by the Ohio Center for Excellence, in which we're partnering with them around their mental health media campaign. So Ohio.gov has launched, I want to say maybe 8 or 9 specific mental health campaigns, and the one that Apple of His Eye partnered with is the ABCs of Mental Health Campaign. And so what we've been doing is really just spreading awareness around what the ABCs of Mental Health Campaign is, which I can talk more about if you like.
Yes.
And then also being blessed to amplify our message and what Apple of His Eye does, and it's a complementary thing. So the ABCs of Mental Health Campaign is really sparked by what we already knew was a nationwide concern. So 1 in 5 adult Americans experience a mental health condition each year.
Wait, slow down. You said 1 in 5?
1 in 5. So you count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that may be near you.
Well, you say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. one of us is probably dealing with a mental health issue, is what you're
Absolutely.
saying. So
That's
yeah,
exactly,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
And so
yeah.
what the ABCs, the mental health campaign, does is it provides information to where a person can go and call if they're experiencing some health concerns, or even if they just want supportive resources to provide for another loved one. So a lot of times I think, especially in minority communities, we don't always know what to look for. We
Yeah.
don't know the signs.
Yeah.
And so the ABCs of Mental Health campaign is bringing awareness to where you can find those resources and putting it in terms that everyone can understand.
Oh, that and once again, so and language means a lot, and being able to make it once again, as we as a community continue to have these conversations and we continue to make it more comfortable to have these conversations, the tools that we can utilize are just right there for us. We talked about it last week, how we can save lives by CPR, making sure everybody's CPR trained. Now, how can we make sure that everybody has a toolkit to make sure that we can always check on each other for our mental aspect too? This is incredible, Ryan. So why mental health and state of minority populations?
That's an excellent question. So, why is mental health important, and why even more so for the minority population?
Yeah.
So, mental health, even if you kind of take aside from a mental health condition and just talk about general functionality, in order to show up in life, you need to feel good about yourself. And you need to feel good about those that you're in connection with. It allows for things to flow more smoothly and just greater productivity. But then when you add into that people that are experiencing a mental health or a diagnosable condition, it impacts one's ability to carry forward and be successful. So, and so I bring that up because minorities like myself, we make up the majority of people that are experiencing mental health conditions within this country. And so it's important as a whole because everyone can relate, whether you're diagnosed or you just have your occasional anxiety or just even depression. It doesn't have to be diagnosed, but we all have times where we're not feeling our best.
Yeah.
But then you couple that with minorities being the ones that are the majority of those that experience these conditions. It's something that we need to take note of. I think I just read a statistic that the youth in Ohio, I believe is age 13 and younger, they're twice as likely in comparison to white youth to commit suicide. That's problematic, right?
And especially, because once again, I'm revisionist history, just thinking about a couple of folks that we also went to school with whose children are not here.
Yeah.
Because of, it's, I'm sorry. That
No,
that's tough.
no.
Those are tough stats to hear, but please
Yeah.
continue.
And then suicide is the second leading cause of death, and this is not based on race. This is all for people aged 10 to 14.
Yeah.
So, I'm talking about suicide, I'm talking about mental health, but I want to bridge that connection, and that research shows that for people that are committing suicide, I don't want to say committing, that are losing their lives due to that. Because when you get to that point, it's hard to say that you're committing or doing a conscious act. So I just want to tease that out.
Yeah, words matter.
Yeah, but 90% of those individuals are experiencing a mental health condition, so it's heavily correlated. And so why mental health? It's leading to loss of lives. And I think that as a society, especially within African Americans, there's this ideology that we have to be strong and just kind of suffer through.
Yeah.
And I think part of that might be culturally, historical trauma, as well as even sometimes spiritually in terms of how the church may convey the word of God. It's not that the word of God is inaccurate, but the revelation sometimes is lacking in how we expound upon what it is we believe we know.
Yeah.
And so you take all those compounding factors, and people are not taking care of themselves, and now we find ourselves in a crisis. And if we had the knowledge or prioritized it, we could have been proactive instead of reactive.
Because I mean, we quote unquote praise our strength as Black people, right? And and sometimes maybe that strength has been a little misconstrued a little bit, because if I'm converting, or if I'm calculating my strength as to how much I can just take on without really talking to somebody to releasing it. Maybe we need to kind of take a step back and say maybe that's not what the strong thing is. The strong thing is really having the courage to say, hey, I'm hurting, and I need somebody to talk to. And I think those are, obviously the great work that Apple of His Eye is doing, but hopefully opportunities that the Heights movement and Apple of His Eye can do together, because I know
Absolutely.
our mission here is to use the residents and to use each other to break those stigmas. We feel like we are our biggest success story. We feel like we can be the innovation to push us through any problems that we have.
Absolutely.
But it starts off by having the toolkit and the skill set, and that starts by the great work that you're doing, and a humble brag because your connection, not just to the Heights movement, like I said, you know, I guess it's fair to say as a schoolmate, classmate as well. Just what is your connection to the Heights movement? Where are you from, Dr. McDade?
Oh, so you want me to expound? I thought you were going somewhere with that.
No. I want you to. I want people to talk about you. What's your connection to the Heights movement? And where are you from, Dr. McDade?
So we are former classmates.
Yeah.
Durant. I don't know. Should I say councilman on camera?
I mean, that's cool. I've used it as a radio host name now. I'm the councilman.
Absolutely. Oh my goodness, this guy. So yeah, classmates, previous colleagues who used to work together.
Yeah.
And you know, I grew up in Lincoln Heights. I always tell people I'm from the first African-American self-governing town north of the Mason-Dixon line.
Man.
And in some areas, I say Zone 15, depending on who I'm talking to. Please edit that out. But,
that's staying.
And so, yeah, I've been blessed. I thank God, you know, in his infinite wisdom, he'll kind of like sprinkle breadcrumbs. So we've been connected for years.
Yeah.
But then to bring it full circle and to have this opportunity to be on your podcast, I'm just very blessed and honored. So.
Now, the pleasure was all ours. And like I said, it's always a pleasure to say there's another doctor that grew up right here in the 45215 in the Zone 15. We say if you talk about the amount of talent that's come from this small community, that's not just impacted Hamilton County, but impacted the world, right? Like you talk about the Isley Brothers, whose music is still transforming music. You talk about Nikki Giovanni, whose words are still transforming cultural works. Carl Westmoreland. You can go on and on about the amount of people from this community who have done great things. I think it's just our turn, right? It's our duty, it's our responsibility to carry those works forward. So whether it's taking on the new challenges and redefining how we attack mental wellness and mental health, or whether it's the opportunities to find places to bring our communities together, which the Heights movement is about, I really feel like it's our responsibility, and I'm humbled and I'm honored to be on this journey with you, Dr. McDade. I truly do mean that. Where can we find more information? Where can the folks find you at Apple of His Eye?
Absolutely. So you can visit us at our website. So it's aohei.org. And you can also, if you have questions, feel free to reach out on our Facebook page, so Apple of His Eye, Inc. Trying to think what else. I don't want to give out my phone number.
No, please don't give out your phone number. Please don't give out your phone number.
So, yeah, those are, I would say, our primary ways of just kind of connecting with what we're doing now is our website and our Facebook. And, yeah, feel free to use those avenues.
Yeah, and then let's touch on it one more time. Anything big coming up soon, right? Is there any events or anything coming up soon?
Thank you. That is a great plug. So, Apple of His Eye, we just had an amazing filming event that the councilman, he graced us with his presence. And so kind of going back to the Ohio Center for Excellence and the ABCs of Mental Health campaign, we partnered with them to do a 30-second PSA, which is going to be broadcast throughout the state of Ohio in 3 theaters, Hamilton, Oakley, and then Westchester. I think it's called The Rave. It's next to Top Golf.
Yeah, that's the Rave. Is that still called? Yeah, I think it's AMC, but I know when we were kids, we used to all call it the Rave.
That's what I thought, yeah.
Yeah.
And so from January 26th to March 6, 2023, if you were to go to see any movie and providing your own time, because I know sometimes I'm always late, but if you get there on time, you will see the Apple of His Eye 30-second PSA before your movie starts in either one of those 3 theaters.
And that's because it's a smart time to do that. February, some big movies coming out, another big Marvel movie coming out, big bill. So once we come back and we critique what we thought about Ant-Man and Quantumania, we're definitely going to talk about that PSA as well next month.
For sure. I'll hold you to it.
Oh, for sure. We might bring you back on that one to test your Marvel knowledge and as well as your thoughts on other PSA. Ryan, this has been fantastic. This has been fun. We got 30 seconds left. Just any last thoughts that you have for the people. Anything else? 30 seconds.
I honestly, I'm very big on just honoring God and just giving thanks. And so I want to thank God for this opportunity.
Yeah.
And for any of those that may be experiencing or struggling, depending on how you feel with your mental health journey, know that there's hope.
Yeah.
Know that it is not something to be ashamed of. Whether or not people admit it, we all are struggling or experiencing something in our own way, and you're not alone, and we're better together. So,
Absolutely. Absolutely. Couldn't have said it better myself. And as we always say here, there are no limits because we are the heights. And Dr. McDade is definitely the proof of that. So thank you guys. And we'll be back with Big Bill here in a second. Thank you guys.
Great interview right there, bro. Ryan A., we appreciate you so much. And the things that she's doing, a great advocate for mental health. I'm proud of her. Graduated same class as her. Shout out 06. So, yeah, that's definitely dope. And we look forward to keep continuing that partnership and working with her. Check out the website again on theheightsmovement.org. You can find out more information about the things we have going on and them, of course, too. So while we're talking about Ryan A. and powerful black women, especially coming from our neighborhood in Lincoln Heights, people like the person that I'm about to speak about now helped pave the way for Ryan A. I want to give a special shout out to Miss Nikki Giovanni. So going on in February is Black History Month. I want to start doing a special spotlight for black women throughout the whole month. We're going to have some great interviews moving forward with that, though. But the first one I want to talk about is Miss Nikki Giovanni. I learned a lot more information about her. I've always heard her name, historical black poet, activist, educator, but I never knew some of her humble beginnings were really nested right here in Lincoln Heights. And that shaped some of the ideology that gave her some of the great poetry that she went on later to write. So I just definitely wanted to talk about her for a second. She was born June 7th, 1943 in Knoxville, Tennessee. Also has special roots to me. One of my aunts been living down there forever. I'm from Winchester, Tennessee. I'm sorry, not Winchester, Tennessee. Rockwood, Tennessee, and Winchester, Kentucky. My peoples are from all around that area, so I didn't know that. But then right after she was born, she moved to Lincoln Heights. I didn't know that either, so I thought that was amazing. She talks about it a lot in her writings. Again, that's what helped shape her narrative and the views that she was later on to go on to express to the world that will be publicly renowned by everybody from Oprah, to Fisk University. Every award that you can imagine she's had. She's been named Woman of the Year by multiple magazines and publications. She's an amazing lady. Like, this is a national treasure. And to realize and really understand that she came from the same streets. Her dad bought a house on Jackson Street, the street that I lived on until I was 12. To find that information out definitely sparked something in me. And I definitely want to just put a spotlight on her and let everybody know that do your research on people that come from where you come from, especially if you're from Lincoln Heights. It's some amazing people that touch this soil. We're going to touch bases on more of these people throughout the month, definitely. But this is your first African-American Black History Month, African-American Woman Spotlight with your boy Big Bill. Do your research. Nikki Giovanni, national treasure, pioneer, activist, educator, amazing, right from Lincoln Heights. So there you go. We're going to be back to wrap up this last episode, and that's it.
Coming up next. What we got next on the list, Big Bill?
We're going to go over a little music, man. There's a lot of stuff going on in music. It's the beginning of the year still. Not a lot of people are dropping music right now. It's kind of slow on that. If you know anything about the first quarter, it's really January is a dead month. Nobody's really working. They just now getting the ball back rolling. But a couple albums dropped. Definitely. Big Boogie, CMG Camp, he dropped his first album. Everybody, he got the streets going crazy with the Pop Out joint, with the P Got Power joint. So he been going hard. I've been keeping my eye on him. Shout out to him. My boy, Styles P, somebody that came up with us, somebody that I've been listening to for damn near 20 years. Yep. He's still making great music. He just dropped his joint. Great album. Great listen. I got to listen to that over the weekend, and I always want to give him love because he's still been consistently dropping music these past couple of years, and I appreciate it. But aside from the music, though, I want to go somewhere else with it. A couple other big announcements. Beyonce dropped her world tour announcement with the rollout and the dates. She just had a big performance over in Saudi Arabia. No, was it? Was it Saudi Arabia?
it
It
might
was
have
in
been, 'cause
Dubai. It was in Dubai.
those
yeah.
are the only people that can afford the tickets are Dubai princes and daggone
Yeah,
Saudi
she
kings.
made like $40 million
So
in,
that
in one
makes sense.
performance for our performance. Crazy, still out here trendsetting, but she just
Shout out to the
followed
Beehive.
that. Yeah, with a great performance, she had a $40 million plus payday for that 1 hour performance. Everybody said she killed it.
Yeah.
So right after that, as her team is amazing at doing, they capitalized on that moment. Dropped the tour right after that, the world tour. Let me be specific. Everybody been holding their pennies in their pockets since she dropped her album, knowing that the tour dates was coming. She gonna kill it all summer. She gonna be in the tri-state area.
Yeah.
That's super exciting.
She coming to
you know.
Louisville. She coming to Louisville.
I think she coming to Chicago too. So she gonna be
Said the
around,
tri-state.
but she going everywhere. She gonna hit a couple countries, do it big. So that's big. And then something else we was talking about before we start recording. Our boy Wayne also dropped.
Weezy.
You know what I'm saying? Tunchi dropped his tour. It ain't a world tour, but it's a Carter. He just said the Carter tour. We don't know what Carters he's gonna perform, but that's a
Man,
big
what's
deal.
your favorite Carter, bro?
I gotta go too.
Yeah.
I gotta go too.
Good
My
answer.
era, for me personally, that was a big impact on my life around that age when he dropped that Hustler music. You know what I'm saying? That Miss My Dogs was one, but Hustler music. It's a couple joints on there that was fire, but for me, he was spitting the best on that album. What's yours?
Nah, two, man, for sure. Cause that two, tell you why. As it's a football player, bro, that was a Wayne transition where, cause as a football player, I never wanted to get like too hyped because I felt like then you wasted your energy, kind of in this like the spirit of it. But two was that one that just kept you right at about 60, 75,
Yeah.
where you were just ready to just explode, man. I just remember, man, because I think that was 04. That should have been 04,
05.
04, 05, man.
Yeah.
Ride with my man Jay Hay to the games, bro. Especially speaking of Jay Hay, shout out to Josh Harrison.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
got signed with the
Yeah,
Philadelphia
Phillies.
Phillies, who will be on in the Zone podcast next week. And we could probably get and ask him what his favorite Carter was
Come
as well
on now,
too.
Jay Hay
but
all day.
yeah, it was definitely two, man. That was my senior year in high school, man.
Sure.
Driving around in the Ford Probe with the lights that flipped up, with the 6 CD disc in the back. Two just brings out some nostalgia because that's where once again it just really allowed me to hone in, and that's where I started falling in love with music.
Yeah.
Because that's what the time when Wayne was really putting out his mixtapes, really kind of finding his love for stuff. So, but even when 3 dropped, bro, like
It's hard.
Cause see, that was my college jank then, and then that's when I feel like he was really getting into this 3 when with Lollipop, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's when his whole sound started to evolve, man. Cause
Favorite Wayne mixtape?
man, favorite Wayne mixtape. Man, it's the
DJ Drama joint is a classic. That has to be that Gangsta Grills DJ Drama. That
one was
the
Dedication,
dedication.
Dedication 2.
That's.
or 4.
All four.
Dedication.
But the sorry for the wait too was like that. That's sorry for the wait, but for real, I can't feel my face was like
crazy.
Him and Jewels went crazy.
That was
I think it might be the.
Which one? No
that-
ceilings, though.
Yeah.
No ceilings.
Come on, man.
You gotta
Bruh.
pick one. You gotta pick one. Which one you going with? So we gonna do a whole. We gonna give y'all. We gonna do a whole topic on this.
We ain't got
'cause-
no time.
Yeah, because it's crazy. That we gonna do a whole separate subject on that. But shout out to Wayne. Shout out to B. They going on tour. Them tickets about to be crazy. Y'all know what time it is. Hope you've been saving your bread.
Man, so man, we're gonna wrap this up. 5 with 5, man. We got our young guy Johnny. Like we said before, man, Johnny been with us for a little minute now. So we're gonna let him hop on in from behind the camera and give him his segment of 5 minute with 5. So we're gonna talk about the top 3 athletes that have dominated from the 2000s to 2023. And the reason we're bringing this up, Tom Brady just retired officially. This time he said he's not coming back.
That bag big. I retired too.
Man, yeah, not for sure.
What? That bag, that's what I'm saying. That bag big.
Man, so so let's just talk about it. Top 3 athletes from 2000 from 2000 to
The last
2023. Yeah, last quarter century. Your top 3 athletes. Let's start off with you, Big Bill. Let's start with you, Big Bill. Who's your top 3?
I brought that on myself. Let's see what we think. I gotta go Serena. It's Black History Month. I told you my spotlight on black women. Shout out to Serena. Nobody dominated like she did this past 20 years. It's crazy. She's still giving wreck right now. She's 40 years old and she still can put up a good fight. So definitely gotta go her. Probably the most dominant female athlete ever.
Yeah.
Shout out to Serena.
Man, definitely the GOAT, in my opinion, in tennis for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep.
She in my top 5 best athletes, period, male or female.
Won a tournament pregnant.
Yeah, come on with it. Yeah, she different.
I was thinking of one of our first episodes we did. We did our shout out to Serena. So yep.
That's when she was.
All right. So you got Serena. Who else you got?
I'm gonna have to go. Brian.
Brian. Can't go
Gotta
wrong
give
with
him his
Brian.
flowers, especially if you're talking about it the last 20 years. Definitely the most dominant basketball player of the last 20 years.
Facts.
Multiple teams. They won championships with 3 different teams. Brought one back to the Ohio. Definitely got to put some respect on it for that.
Yep.
So something I've never seen.
Yep.
A freak of nature. Definitely shout out to Brian. My number 3 to wrap it up. I don't know where I want to go with it. There's so many different ones you can go with it, but
Serena, Brian.
Serena, Brian, and I can't steal nobody else's. Kobe. I gotta give some love to my guy Kobe, man. Kobe did it.
Hey.
Kobe did it different.
5 rings.
Kobe did it different. I want to say Tiger. I'm like this because Tiger, because it's
no
Kobe.
Tiger. No Tiger.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
All
I
right.
go Tiger. Nah, Kobe, rest in peace. His I think I'm a little emotional. His anniversary of his passing was just a week or 2 ago.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
Kobe on my brain, but Tiger was crazy.
right,
Arguably
so
the
make it
best
official.
golfer
Who's
ever.
your top 3?
Tiger.
Top
So
3.
we're going Tiger, Serena, Brian. In the last 23 years, they definitely put on different than anybody else.
Johnny, top 3.
Hey, my top 3 gonna be Jordan Burroughs. That is a 6-time gold medalist in Olympics wrestler.
Timmy Two Legs.
Hey, bro, wrestling hard. So, first
Shout
place
out,
gold
shout out.
medal in the Olympics, you got to be out there, absolutely.
All right.
Then I'm gonna go LeBron, coming back 1-3 against the Warriors, absolutely. And then that team, that's like 3 Hall of Famers right there,
Yep.
Love Nation.
absolutely. And then my third, Floyd Mayweather.
Floyd. Ooh, okay.
That's-
Okay.
Put some respect. Shout out to N.O. Yeah, he definitely said that too. Floyd is money team.
All right. So mine, I'm going to go with everybody else. So everybody said Brian. So I'll throw Brian in there for sure. So I'm going to go Brian. And then I'm going to go, not because I don't think it's a little controversial, not because it's just in my mind, but I'm going to go Tom Brady. So I'm going Brian, I'm going Brady, and then I'm going with Usain Bolt. That's
Yeah.
my number 3
That was a good one.
in the last quarter. And these are the reasons why. Brian, 4 championships, 3 different teams, 10 different 10 straight finals during these last 20 years. Came in 2003, averaging over 27 points in his first game. All-star since he was his second year in the
All
league.
right, Mr. Analytics,
Yeah.
let us
So
know then.
You're
your boy.
Nah, that's what I'm saying. So yeah, I got 45 seconds left when we get into it. And then next, like I said before, Usain Bolt, over 15 years of being the fastest man in the world. And then Tom Brady, stat speaks for itself. 7 championships over these past, 20 years. I was just looking at his championship, his first one that he won back in 2002 against the Rams. Man, if you look at the footage, bro, they still playing on the hardcore turf out there, man, right after 9/11. So Johnny was born in 03. So Tom Brady has been playing longer than Johnny has been alive.
Yeah.
So when you put those into considerations, and the reason why I know Serena, the reason why I know Tiger, I put preferences on the level of competition. Now, I'm not saying the level of competition was not high, but with Tiger and Serena, and even with Venus, the reason they were able to transform the sports like they did, because the athleticism was not on their par. Now
You can't put Brian in there.
no. I can because Bron. Yes, I'm saying you're talking about the NBA. You're still talking about some of the greatest athletes in the world. Now, if you're going to say that Bron, like his body build is something
He's a
totally
freak.
different.
He's built
a
like something
freak.
we've never
but,
seen.
But in the NBA, you have a lot of those. Like you have the Greek freak. It's like something you've never seen before. Joel Embiid is like something you've never seen before.
Never
like,
seen a build like Brian. Bro,
like I
ever.
said, but I mean,
With
Karl
the
Malone was
athleticism
built like him. So
Brian, he couldn't move like
yeah, and then lastly, like Usain Bolt. Like Usain Bolt, if you want to talk about once again the fastest guy in the world, but man, that Joker was the way that he did that with the length that he did that, man, it was just unbelievable.
That's a
But
good one.
man, let us know y'all top 3 athletes.
For the record, I would have picked Brady, but it's Black History Month. We gotta keep. You know what I'm saying? But yeah,
A GOAT is a GOAT is a GOAT.
nah,
is a
facts.
GOAT.
Shout out to him for sure.
Man, shout out to all the Billy Goats. Shout out to all these athletes out here because all of them dominated in a certain way in their own specific sport.
doubt.
But once again, man, this has been another great episode of In the Zone, man. I'm glad to be back with you guys, man. It's definitely been a blessing. Make sure y'all put y'all thoughts in here. Let y'all, Johnny, you got 30 seconds real quick, man. What you got, man, before you let everybody go?
Hey, to say what you were saying about you can't put Brown in there, I think that's crazy.
No,
I think that's crazy because let's talk about it.
that wasn't what I was.
You only
saying.
get 30 seconds, Johnny.
Yeah, he said athleticism disqualified them. That's the only reason I said that you couldn't put Brown in there. That's it, bro. I don't want no smoke.
That's how you
he in
gonna
mine
end.
too.
Man, these young folks, man, that's how they waste their thoughts. Man, go ahead, Big
Hey,
Bill,
but
man.
nah,
Yeah.
I just want to say shout out to everybody. Keep tuning in. We're going to keep doing more. We're getting better. We got some great stuff coming for y'all. We going to some different places coming up. We got great interviews coming, so just keep staying tuned with us. Episode
Man, we're episode
10,
yeah, that's
11,
episode 11.
10, 11.
11.
In the zone. We appreciate y'all. And we're going to leave y'all with a little bit of this Sky's the Limit from Wayne, man. If we can get the copyright right. I want to play that on the outro. We got me thinking about old mixtape. So shout out to y'all. We see y'all on the next episode.
I'm gonna call Wayne and see if we can get that done. But yeah, just lastly,
Councilman.
yeah, I know, right?
Councilman.
But yeah, lastly, don't let nobody ever tell you guys you can't get nothing done. And like we always said before, there are no limits because we are the
We
height.
are.
This is episode 11. Peace.